challenge begins.
Alright, going into game number 1 here. It's gonna be a Shadow Cleave versus an RMP, I guess, once again, for Hydra. Let's see if he's gonna be able to deal with this. Well, I guess it was Shadow Priest last time instead of a Warlock, but we'll see, we'll see.
Yeah. I like how the setup of this tournament is melee caster healer because I really wouldn't enjoy watching, you know, TSG or something ridiculous like that.
I've heard that Malako next next tournament is gonna be like that. You're gonna be able to play any comp you want.
Oh, just kidding. I think that's fine.
Well, this is cool too. I like both sides of it.
Yeah.
Like I like that it makes it more fun with these comps, but it's like it's better to be able to use anything. Now Sasha Grey is going to be looking for that re-stealth here. No, he's actually looking for the kidney shot on top of the Druid. Druid now taking a full kidney shot there with the box game being popped. He is going to be able to survive a fear on top of it after that.
I think he was just trying to wait out his pre-hots, and now he's going to be taking a ton of damage. He's already at 60%, 50%. Dipping really low, just tons of damage being tunneling into him. He already has used the Hellstone, and now he's travel forming away. Now there's really good peels coming out right now onto Khuna.
I mean, Khuna was in a really bad spot. He got a fear, he tried to trinket that, and then he got feared again. So, we'll have to see.
They're just tunneling damage onto this Druid. I'm not sure if they should be doing this. I mean, he already has pre-hots up, but
yeah, but he's still taking so much damage anyways. But there's the anti-magic zone. It actually gets feared out of it, so
feared out of it. That's a really nicely done fear. I'm sure Hydra did that on purpose. Definitely.
For sure. Now he's dropping down to 10% HP. This was Pellock, and he's gonna be going down. And well, Hydra's team is gonna be taking the first game. We're going to map number 2 here on Nagrand Arena. What you're seeing now is the ass of a bear. Or a bear with a nice outfit, I guess. Yeah.
And because someone tried calling me out for it, I said I'm not sure if they should send him the Druid when he has his pre-hots up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
don't read the chat. Never. It's like it's 90% bullshit and 10% is Malako spamming. Nothing else. Anyways, so yeah, Hydra is now taking a huge amount of damage. There's the pain suppression on top, but then Gargle already being popped. A disarm onto the DK is going to negate a little bit of damage, but DKs can do enough damage even without a weapon. So that's not a problem.
They did force a Barkskin from the Druid right now. Now Hydra's just trying to get a pillar so he can line of sight, you know, do what he does best.
Yeah.
Simon the DK is sitting in a full blind. I don't think he's going to get sapped out of it because he has a pet out and the rogue wasn't near him anyway. Now the DK is just going to be trying to do as much damage into Khuna as he can.
Yeah, now Hydra is taking a little bit of damage. There's actually a holy fire coming in from Hydra, but Hydra is still dipping low. There's a fear as well, and Druid is actually taking a little bit of damage, but his Hoss is just healing him up right now.
Yeah, I think if they continue to tunnel into the Druid, then I think the other team's going to be able to kill Hydra before the Druid will die.
Yeah, and now Khuna is taking a lot of damage. There's a Shadow Step on top of the Druid, and the Druid is stopping down to 50% SP, whereas Khuna is actually getting picked up.
Yeah, this Druid is right now, he's trying to line of sight, but, I mean, a lot of the damage he's taking is from the Rogue, and he's moving himself out of line of sight of peels, which is not what you want to do when you're getting focused as a healer. Like, right now, he's cheap-shotted behind the pillar from all of his teammates' peels, and he's going to be taking a ton of damage. He's at 90%. There's a really nice preemptive AMZ. That was really good. Hydra's in a full fear, and now he's getting damage trucked into him. He's trying to pick himself up. He does manage to do so. And now he's all the way back down to 50%. Oh, that was his burst damage. 40%, 30%, 23%, running behind the pillar, penencing himself, picking himself back up. And now the Druid is able to cast Cyclones, and Hydra's divine him into try and pick his whole team up because his spread damage it is a
Yeah.
bit absurd.
Yeah, now Kuna is actually in a really bad spot, forced to use Cloak of Shadows to be able to get anywhere at all. He really wants to get on top of that Druid. There's the Gouge, the best CC in the game. And after that, he's probably going to start... Yeah, there's the kidney shot on top of the Druid. And now Hydra at the same time taking even more damage than the Druid. Down to 40% HP, has to pop... Oh, actually gets interrupted while trying to cast Penance there by the Gnaw from the DK.
Yeah, but the Druid at the same time is staying at 40% health. He's trying to get away, trying to travel far away, but he just does not have very many haunts on himself right now. He is going to be able to pick himself up behind this pillar, especially considering that Khuna has been peeled off him. And Khuna is trying to do damage to DK, but he's taking a ton of damage. 20%, 9%, 30%, 60%, 1%.
Ooh.
He uses his Battle Masters, I believe, and
Wow.
he's trying his hardest to, prevent some damage to pick himself up. That was really good healing by Hydra. He does decide to blind the DK, and now he's just waddling around trying to either make it to a pillar or hit something, I believe. And it looks like he's gonna.
The Rogue was actually down to 1% there for a second, which is really low. So
Yeah.
actually being able to pick himself up there was extraordinary.
He does Shadow Step back to the Druid, but then he gets Death Grip by the DK. That was very smart, saving his Death Grip for that Shadow Step. And now he is going to be slowed as they tunnel into the Priest.
Yeah, the Rogue is going to open up on top of the DK once again, gouging him. But, I mean, the whole RMP team right now has taken a little bit of damage. They're all hovering around the 60-70% mark. Now topping them up to 80. And there's a Scion on top of Hydra. Khuna now taking lots of damage, down to 30% HP. There's the Pain Suppression coming up, but he's still dropping really low. Shadow Dance coming up. Sheep shotting the DK to negate some damage, but he was below 10% there for a long time.
And they did force that Paints Up, and as soon as he Paints Up, he gripped the Priest and started to do damage to him. That was an attempt to, screw over the fact that Priests can't exactly heal multiple targets at once, but the peeling onto this DK is so good. And Hydra's team is really good at peeling, and they're really showcasing that right now. Now they are hitting the Priest again. He is at 45%. He's going to be dipping much lower. He gets interrupted on his penance, I believe, and now DK is just tunneling his death coils. The Warlock is doing everything he can. At the same time, the Rogue is getting very low, and they do switch over to the Rogue. He gets a nice Cloak of Shadows off, does remove all dots. Yeah. But at the same time, look at Hydra's mana. Hydra is at 2.3k and the Druid is at 4.8k.
Yeah, and Hydra's already used Human of Hope. And there's a fair on both the Rogue and the Priest. Hydra is going to be trinketed in that, but the Mage is now taking a huge amount of damage, down to 23% there for a second. A Cyclone coming in on top of the Rogue. The Rogue is trying his best to actually do a little bit of damage to the Warlock.
The Mage is taking a ton of damage. He's at 21%. Hydra does get a Fear onto the DK. But look at Hydra's mana. Hydra is the Druid is at half mana. This is not looking very good for Hydra. The Mage is getting death coiled into by the DK. And the DK is deciding to switch to the Rogue. That's a very good play. The Mage is out of line of sight. What's he going to do? He's going to switch to the Rogue right now. And he's just going to put so much pressure still, no matter what.
Hydra in a really bad spot right now. I mean, the pet is just hitting him. He's not going to be able to get a drink off. And the RMP right now does everything they can to just stay alive for a little bit longer. Try to maybe kill the pet to allow Hydra to drink, but I don't know. He's just so low on mana, whereas the Druid actually up on 10k right now.
Yeah, and the Warlock did get counterspelled right there. This Warlock really needs to try and do some assisting damage, but they're doing a good job of preventing him from casting. This DK is hitting anything that's in line of sight. Like right now, he's tunneling into the Mage, but as soon as this Mage gets behind this pillar, oh, never mind. They're going to hard switch to the DK. DK is going to take a ton of damage. He's at 60%, 50%. But look at this Mage's health. Mage is at 17%. DK decides to AMZ. He's going to be fine for now, but if he runs behind that pillar, he will get killed. He's very smart. He decides to play it safe. Just runs the other way, gets some more hots on himself before he decides to go behind that pillar. But this Warlock really isn't doing his job of doing very much spread damage right now. Yeah. I mean, he's at full health. He can definitely get in there and try and do some damage, but the Mage is sitting at 15% health, and he does get picked up a little bit. But this DK is now in stuns. I mean, I want to see more damage coming out from this Warlock because it really seems like the DK is doing the majority of the damage.
Yeah, but still, the RMP is doing a really nice job actually getting Hydra's mana back up. It's at 60% right now with the help of that Shadow Fiend. But the Rogue is dropping down to 20% there for a second. Now up at 50. There's the Shadow Dance Shape Shot on top of the Warlock, but he's gonna get gripped off by the DK. Really nice grip there. Once again on top of the Warlock.
Yeah, this rogue is doing a phenomenal job of just switching to whatever he can. But look at the mage's health. The mage is forced the ice block there. He got death coiled into a spell lock, and he's actually not wearing a lot of resilience. I'm looking at his gear right now, and I can see 2 pieces of visible PvE gear.
Yeah, and Hydra still having really big mono problems right now. There's a Sheep Shop on top of the DK, hitting the shot, dropping it down to 40%. Here's the anti-magic shell. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't seem like it. He's going to be able to survive, but I mean, he's still 50%. The Druid is going to be hotting him.
Yeah, he's fine for now, but they do a big switch on the Hydra. Hydra has like no mana and is already at 40% health. He's just death coil spamming, just doing as much damage as he can. He trinkets a blind, he gets gouged. Excellent play by Khuna. Kuna's an outstanding rogue. This DK is just trying to hit anything and everything right now. He's even switching to the rogue, even though Hydra's behind the pillar at 22%. It's a good play in my opinion. But this mage is sitting there free casting. Hydra's getting seriously low, 3%. He might die to he has 2 pets on him right now. Even a hurricane to just do a little more damage.
And now Khuna is taking a huge amount of damage. Khuna goes down, and I mean Hydra is caught in a fear, and with no mana, there's 2k mana, not gonna do that much. And Pascal hates us. He's gonna take the second map. I don't know how, but it seems like the Shadow Cleave just seemed to. They did a lot of damage, and they forced him to use as many heals as possible on different targets, and draining his mana that way. And the Druid, he's a Druid. He's not gonna have mana problems for a long time. Of course, unless you start mana burning. And I haven't actually seen him mana burning as much. I saw a few, but their tactic doesn't evolve around Umi the Druid. And that means that in the end, the Priest is gonna have huge mana problems if they don't finish the game early.
Yeah, and one thing that Druid was doing that game was he's pretty much playing heal bot because he's playing with a Warlock and a DK and they do tons of damage. He pretty much just stands, 40 yards away and picks everybody up. Sorry, I just had a little bit of a brain fart there mid-sentence.
Yeah, I hate that. Your brain never wants to say what your mouth wants. It's a real big trouble. But now the mage has popped Icy Veins now. Death Call actually onto Hydra. There's a fear on top of him as well. Another fear on him. Now the Druid is taking a little bit of heavy damage, trying to hot everyone up. And a nice grip there by Simonthedk.
Yeah, what they did there at the beginning was they cheap shot him and then gouged him to try and get his pre-hots off, and then they tried to do big damage. And now they're doing tons of damage into this DK, dipping to 40%. He's getting Frostbolts chained into him. He really has to line to set that mage, which is what he's trying to do right now. He gets put into a Frost Nova, and now he's just, trying to do anything he can. He's sitting in a Frost Nova right now, and he's hitting his rogue. The rogue is currently on his way in a fear, which is unfortunate for him. I know he's... I just got bugged there. He was still fearing. He was able to cast blind. That was weird. But anyway...
Yeah, they're moving back onto the Druid. There's a Sheep Shop on top of him, but I mean, it still doesn't seem like they are doing enough damage. The hots are like healing him up. There's a kidney shot onto him as well. But as you can see on the left side of the screen, I mean, the whole RMP team is taking damage all the time. And now the mage is actually dropping really low.
And the mage is, having to run outside. Hydra is divine hemming for pretty much just solo heal the mage because divine him does so much healing. And I think they realize just how little resilience this mage is wearing because I'm looking at him and it is extremely low.
Yeah, it was amazing. But now Fernando is going to be caught in a deep freeze there. Going to be able to get away with a travel form. I don't know how he got that. I think it was a Devour or something. But now Raiku Khuna is going to be taking a couple of damage himself.
There's an AMZ to help pick his Druid back up. Let him just sit there, tunnel heals. And now the Rogue is trying desperately to, I guess, gouge and control this Druid just to get pre-hots off. And now big swap onto Hydra. Hydra's at 14%, 9% dead. That was a huge swap. Such good play.
Here we go. Game number 4 between only facing bad, and Pascal hates us. Let's see how this is gonna turn
Yep,
out.
and here's a druid just trying to hide himself behind the pillar, and he does pre-hot, and he gets cheap shot. And this is what I'm talking about: is this rogue cheap shots him and then gouges him. He's just trying to get the dots off of him.
Yeah.
Let the mage do other stuff. And now that here comes the big damage. There's a kidney under the druid. The priest is in a death coil to strangulate. The priest is
Wow.
taking a ton of damage right now. He's all the way at 37%. He's already desperate prayer, already popped who knows what.
Oh.
He fears the druid, and now he's picking himself back up. But at the same time, Khuna is taking damage, forced to cloak. The Shadow Cleave is just coming up on top on
Yeah.
everything.
And
Damage control.
that's the thing with Shadowclear. I mean, they can switch so easy because they got dots on every target, and then whoever they focus on, that's the one the DK just keeps hitting with his sword. And that one is going to be taking the most damage, but the other guys are going to be taking damage as well. Now, there's a pain suppression down onto Hydra. He's in a really bad situation in the middle of the map right now.
Yeah, Hydra's at all the way at 50%. I think he already pain suppressed. He's at 20%, 29%, 60%, 7%. He's gonna die to dots behind this pillar. He's got even a moonfire going out on him. He gets pet stunned, and I don't see Hydra being able to pick himself up. Oh, just kidding. Priest Hero Hydra, he can do anything he wants. He's already back up to 50, 70%. Excellent play by Priest Hero Hydra.
Yeah, it was really nice play there. I actually thought he was going to go down. He was at 5% when he got the stun. I don't know how he got healed and stuff up. Maybe some revenue tick, I don't know. But now
Yeah.
Kuna is going to be gouging the druid, like you said, to get those hearts off. And here's the kidney shot. Seems like he's going to be switching for the DK now.
Yeah, the thing is that they're so far ahead that Hydra's still having to pick everybody up, and everybody's still having to play defensively. So they can, they're trying to get massive bursts out with those kidneys in their deeps, but they're just not going to land a kill right now. Like Hydra's behind a pillar divine hymning when they're trying to go for a kill on the DK, but I guarantee you he's not going to die right now because they need that support from that priest with, a fear on the healer or holy fire, mind blast, what have you. Now the priest does get gripped into the DK with a blanket spell lock. DK gets feared, but he does Lichborn out of it, and now Hydra's going to take extreme damage here. He's at 8%, 1% dead.
Yeah, and that's going to mean that Pascal hates us is going to move forward, and only facing bad is going to be out of the tournament.